Hello everybody and welcome back to Gaming on Caffeine. My name is Isaac and we are back for episode 7 of the CrackPack. Last episode we were working on setting up our applied energetics system and automating the process of sending all of our ores and gems from the mining dimension through into the overworld and then processing them automatically either through the sag mill and the alloy smelter and then into ingot form and then back into the AE system, or just directly into the AE system if they're like redstone, diamonds or any other kind of gem like that. Since the end of last episode, I have streamlined this process a little bit. As you can see, it all looks a lot nicer now than it did at the end of last episode. All I've done is just move the ender chest up here, so we now have one pipe that takes all of the ores, or some of the ores. I haven't quite gotten around to making the advanced filter yet, because the next level of filter requires a Z-Logic controller, which requires a zombie head, which we don't have right now. I did do a little bit of hunting around in the night, trying to find some zombies that I could kill with my ender sword to try and get their heads, but I had no such luck, and so we are still currently using the old filters that can only whitelist 5 items at a time, but we currently have all of the ores going out to here, some of the gems going down to here, and then I've just kind of been manually coming over and taking some stuff out one by one, every so often, just to make sure things don't get too backed up, and then dumping it all into the system. I've also got rid of all of the chests that we had over here, and put almost everything that we had back into the AE system as well, so we can now access almost all of the stuff that we had before from this terminal now. You may have also noticed that I've changed the color of my crafting terminal. Somebody in the comment section of the last episode asked me to change it from purple to a different color, and I thought it is always purple. I should really change the color up every once in a while, and so I changed it to this lovely orange color. And by the way, all you've got to do is just change the color of the ME glass cable behind it, and that will change the color of the crafting terminal. So I made a bunch of orange cable. You make it 8 at a time. All you got to do is surround 8 of the normal cable, which is purple, with any kind of dye. So if you just put your dye in the middle and then the cables around the outside, and then stick it behind the terminal, that will change the color of your terminal if you want to change it to one of the other colors in Minecraft. But what I want to work on in today's episode is I want to work on a little bit of the magic side of things. We've done a lot of tech. We've got our AE system up and running. We've got our ore doubling up and running. We've got a couple of setups down here for mob farming up and running, but we haven't done anything on the magic side yet, and so I want to start with one of my favorite magic mods, and that is Botania. So between episodes, I've made the Lexica Botania, which for those who are unfamiliar, is kind of the encyclopedia of Botania. It contains everything that you will ever need to know about everything within Botania, and it's really easy to make. It is simply a sapling with a normal book. We do have quite a lot of books in our system from the dungeon that we kind of raided and took some bookshelves from, but the Lexica Botania tells you everything you need to know about Botania, and to get started with Botania, we need to get some mystical flowers. So you may see these around in the world. We have a couple of them over here, down right here. We've got some mystical red flowers, and if we take a little further look around, I'm fairly certain that there are some mystical white flowers just over here somewhere. Yeah, over here. Now, in order to get started with Botania, we need actually a fair amount. Oh, we also have some brown ones as well. We need a fairly large amount of these mystical flowers. You can craft them into petals, and then those petals can be crafted into other things, mostly flowers that can do really cool stuff. Now, to do all that, we need a lot of these mystical flowers, and as you can see, although they're not necessarily rare, they're not really that abundant. Like, we can fly around, and it's going to take us a while if we want to get some of every type of mystical flower. There is one for each of the 16 colors in Minecraft, I think. Don't quote me on that. But to get all of them, it would take quite a while, and to get a good number of all of them, it would take even longer. And so to start today's episode, I want to craft a lot of floral fertilizer, which is an item from Botania, which when you right-click on the ground with it, will spawn a bunch of Botania flowers. Much like if you right-click on the grass with bone meal, you'll get a bunch of like rose reds, and you'll get a couple of little like grass seeds and stuff like this. If you do it with the floral fertilizer, you will get a bunch of mystical flowers. So the way that you make floral fertilizer is with 1 bone meal, and then either 4 floral powder. You can use any kind of powder you want. Floral powder is obtained by crafting together any type of petal with a pestle and mortar, which is made really easily with some wood, a ball, and a stick. Or you can craft together some rose red and some dandelion yellow with a bone meal, and that will also get you 1 floral fertilizer. Now, we could use the first setup right now. We have some flowers that we can craft into petals, and we can very easily make that pestle and mortar, but that's not what I'm going to do. Let me quickly move out of the way of this creeper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the recipe that requires dandelion yellow and rose red, because we have AgriCraft installed, which gives us a really easy way to get a lot of rose red and a lot of dandelion yellow, allowing us to craft a massive amount of floral fertilizer in conjunction with the fact that we have a skeleton spawner downstairs that is producing a ton of bones, so we have a near infinite supply of bone meal. Also, I did put down that second skeleton spawner that we found like 4 episodes ago, just because it was inside a dolly that was inside one of the chests whilst I was moving everything between episodes. So we're going to start with that. Now, there are a few ways you can make dandelion dandelion yellow and rose red. You could go out, and we do have some roses nearby. We got a bunch of them. We're not going to go out and get those. We are instead going to use the GOCrack seeds. You can get dandelion seeds, and then for rose red, you can get poppy seeds, which act just as any normal seed would. You can put it down, and then you can right-click with bone meal to grow that seed, and then when you harvest it, you will get rose red or dandelion yellow. And seeing as we have a near infinite supply of bone meal, we can get a near infinite supply of dandelion yellow and rose red just from having one of each of these seeds. So how do you make them? The way these seeds are made is by using the crop mutation mechanic within GOCrack. And to do that, we first of all have to get some crop sticks. These guys over here, they are super easy to make. It's just 4 regular vanilla Minecraft sticks. I will go ahead and take like 8 of those for the time being. And essentially, if we look back at the recipe here for, let's say, poppy seeds, we'll make these first. If we want to make a poppy seed, we need to breed together a sugarcane seed and a pumpkin seed. Now, right now, I'm fairly certain that we don't have either of those. No, we've got normal seeds, melon seeds, and carrot seeds. I think we are going to need all of those, so let's take all of those out real quick. Now, we can actually craft all of these other seeds here. For example, if we wanted to get some sugarcane seeds, we can breed together normal wheat seeds and carrot seeds. So, for example, if I come outside, and actually, let's quickly grab ourselves a hoe. We don't have one right now. Do we have one in the system? We do not. So, let's just quickly go ahead and grab, let's say, like an iron hoe. There we go. And once we've got that, we can come outside. We do have this little patch of water that I think I said I was going to get rid of last episode, but didn't quite get around to doing so. But essentially, the way that crop breeding works, you put the 2 crops you want to breed down on either side of the center crop. So in this case, we want to breed together, I think it's wheat seeds and carrot seeds. Let me just check that again. There are a bunch of different crafting recipes here. We want to make sugarcane, which is wheat seeds and carrot seeds. So if we put down normal wheat seeds on the left and then carrot seeds on the right, and bone meal these up real quick so they are fully grown, and then put down a double set of crop sticks in the middle, that is going to cause those plants to breed. So let's bone meal these guys up to full growth like so, and then in the middle, ooh, it's nighttime. We should probably sleep real quick. Let me just switch back into human mode. But in the center, we're going to put down 2 sets. Actually, is it almost daytime or is it almost nighttime? The sun is rising. Okay, we will fight through this. Where is this? What did we get attacked by? I have no idea. Anyway, if we go back over here and we put down 2 crop sticks in the center, we now have like a breeding ground here for those sugarcane seeds. Now, unfortunately, by default, this takes quite a long time. Like, it's a bit random as to when this is going to happen, but what we can do is if we grab ourselves the watering can from Extra Utilities, we can speed this process along a little bit and kind of force those crops to breed a little faster than they normally would. And thankfully, the watering can is kind of super easy to make. It's just 4 iron ingots, 1 ball, and then 1 bone meal. And so, if we quickly grab ourselves some more oak slabs like so. The server's being a little bit laggy, but that's fine. Let's just do something like that. Get ourselves a watering can. And then quickly right-click this on some water somewhere. That's going to fill the can up. And now, if we right-click, or if we shift right-click even, you can see it has bred together. In this scenario, it made normal wheat seeds, and that is because, if we go back to the poppy real quick and look at the crafting recipe for sugarcane, you'll see that sugarcane has to be bred on sand, and we've got dirt. And so we're not actually going to get, oh, here is the little mother trucker that attacked us earlier. And so we're not going to get, he should die fairly easily, there we go. We're not going to get any sugarcane seeds by breeding these 2 together on dirt. And so what we need to do instead is quickly grab a little bit of sand from within our system, and if we stick this down, wow, everybody is joining the server right now. If we stick this down in the center here, right about there, we can do the exact same thing. We can go ahead and put it down, we can put down some crop sticks, put down a double layer to make sure that crops can breed there, and now if we shift right click with the watering can, make sure you shift right click, because if you just right click, it's going to pop that off. So you want to shift right click with the watering can, that's going to force these 2 crops to breed, and there we go, we got ourselves some sugarcane seeds. Nice. So now what we can do is we can take those, and again, if we look at the recipe for the poppy seeds, all we need now are the pumpkin seeds, and to get those, we need to breed together some carrot seeds and some potato seeds. We didn't have any potato seeds within our system, but we have killed quite a lot of zombies, and so we might have some potatoes. Yes, we do. Okay, so we just craft those up. That should get us some potato seeds. It does. Unlike the sugarcane seeds, the pumpkin seeds do breed together on dirt, so let's just go ahead and get rid of this and throw this piece of dirt back down right about there. Give it a quick hoe with our iron hoe there. Get rid of the wheat seeds. Put down the new potato seeds like so. We can quickly watering can those up. We could also use bone meal as well, which I think I will actually do because it's a little bit faster. So we'll do that and that. Once they're both fully grown, we can put down our double layer of crop sticks, use our watering can, and we got carrot seeds that time. You're not guaranteed to get the breeder, like the crop it says that it's going to give. Sometimes it will just give you another version of one of the two crops on either side, in this case potato seeds and carrot seeds. There is also a chance that you can get weeds. Weeds are a little bit annoying because they will take over other crops around your crop. So for example, if we'd have left those weeds right there, they would have just like spread and taken over the carrots and the potatoes and destroyed them, which is a little bit annoying. We are also out of crop sticks, so let me quickly see about making a couple more of those. We've got some sticks here. We'll just do something like that. We're not having the best of luck here with the pumpkins, but let's give it another go. And there we go. Eventually we got ourselves some pumpkin seeds. Nice. So let's take those, and now if we go back to Poppy for hopefully the final time, we can breed together the pumpkin seeds and the sugarcane seeds, and that will give us a chance of getting those poppy seeds. So again, get rid of the dirt here. We want to put down the sand so that we can actually put down the sugarcane seeds. Again, crop sticks can go down. Make sure we get the sugarcane there. On this side, we want to put down the pumpkin seeds that we just picked up, like so. And then in the middle, we want a double layer of crop sticks. The poppy seed is bred on soil, so the dirt will be just fine. Let's bone meal both of these up like so. And now if we do the same thing again with the watering can, we should get some poppy seeds. Nice. It actually worked first time, and this is where I wanted to be, because now what we can do is with our bone meal, we can just shift right click, get a bunch of poppies, then right click, take some rose red, and we can just do this pretty much infinitely. We can just stand here and do this over and over and over again, and we will have ourselves an infinite amount of rose red. And so what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to go away. I'm going to do the exact same thing for the dandelion yellow, this one over here. To get this, it's just melon seeds and sugarcane seeds. Actually, I think we already have both of those, so we should be able to just get rid of you, put down the melon seeds, bone meal those up quickly like so, get rid of this middle section, put down the crop sticks again, use our good old friend the watering can, and that should get us the dandelion seeds. Nice. And so what I'm going to do now, guys, I'm going to go away. I'm going to bone meal a bunch of these dandelion seeds and a bunch of the poppy seeds, get a bunch of rose red and a bunch of dandelion yellow, and I'll be back in a second. And quite a lot of bone mealing later, we now have 2 stacks of rose red and 2 stacks of dandelion yellow. So if we come on through to the crafting terminal, we can craft all of this stuff together like so. I think the recipe might be shapeless, so I don't think it matters where in the crafting terminal you put all of the stuff, as long as it's all in there. And that will get us a stack of floral fertilizer. And now, if we go outside, we can just simply right click with this stuff on the ground, and that will cause a bunch of different colored mystical flowers to spawn all over the place, which we can now harvest and use however we like. However, before I do go ahead and start harvesting all of these, I would like to create a flower pouch. This guy over here, this thing essentially holds all of these flowers so that when you break them, instead of going directly to your inventory, they will go directly into the flower pouch, which stops these flowers just causing a massive mess in your inventory, because there are so many of them and they take up so much space. And so I am going to make one of these real quick. It's quite simply just 5 wool and then 1 of any colored mystical petal. I don't think actually that we have that much wool remaining. We don't. We've got 4, which is really annoying. Do we have any string? We've got 3 string as well, which is so annoying. For those who don't know, you can craft 4 string together to get 1 wool, but it looks like we have a little bit shy on wool. However, we do have these wooden shears that we created a couple of episodes back, and so I'm going to go away real quick. I'm going to find 1 piece of wool, and I will be right back. Yoink. Okay, so now that we've got a little bit more wool, we can craft up this orange flower into this petal form, and then use that petal with some of the wool that we have to get ourselves the flower pouch. Nice. And now if we take this and we go outside and just break all of these flowers, instead of plugging up our inventory, they're going to go directly into the flower pouch. And it also makes it a lot easier to access all of the flowers in the future, because, oh, they're not going into the flower pouch. Why is that? Do I have to, like, open it first before they'll go in there? Normally, they go directly into the flower pouch. For some reason, they are not. I guess it's not too big of a deal. I can just put them all in there by hand. It does make it a lot easier to know where everything is, because usually I just throw all of these into the AE system, and then when I want to get them, it becomes a bit of a pain. Normally, the way that this pouch works is when you pick up the flowers, they go directly into your pouch. I wonder if that's like a setting. It doesn't seem to be, which is really weird. It might be a config setting, but I always thought it was just like a default Botania feature. Apparently, I was wrong. Anyway, I'm going to go away again real quick. I'm going to use the rest of this floral fertilizer, get as many mystical flowers as I can, and I'll be back in a second. This is so weird. The pouch is kind of working. Like, if I look right now, I've just broken a ton of flowers, and most of them have been gone directly into the pouch, but some of them haven't. Like, if I break this red flower, it goes directly into the pouch. It's not here in my inventory. Did it go into the pouch, or did we just lose it? We have 13 in there. Let me try to find another red flower. If I break this... No, we have 14. It went directly into the pouch. But then, if I break, like, this orange flower, it doesn't go into the pouch. What is that about? It could be to do with the morph form. Let me quickly leave morph and see if this does the same thing. Like, if I break this now... It still doesn't work. That is so weird. Okay, so despite all of the flower pouch craziness, we now have a nice number of flowers from all of that floral fertilizer. And now the first thing that we need to make in Botania is the petal apothecary. This is going to allow us to make all of the other flowers from Botania that we can then use to do other cool stuff. And to make this, it is quite simply 4 pieces of cobblestone, 2 cobblestone slabs, and then 1 of any color of mystical petal. And so we've already got 1 mystical petal in here. We might as well use that. Shift click the rest in. I really hope that would work. It didn't because we're missing a little bit of the cobblestone slab action over here. But once we got that, we can throw in any color of mystical petal we like. I think because we shift clicked on this recipe, the one with the white petal in it, didn't work. If I was to shift click on this recipe, yeah, that works just fine. And like I said, essentially this is how we make all of the flowers within Botania, or most of the flowers within Botania. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to put this down, I guess, like right here for now. We want to make sure that we have an unlimited source of water next to it, because the way that it works is you fill it up with water, you throw in all of the required ingredients for any given flower, and then you finish up the recipe by throwing in any kind of seed on top, and that will craft up the flower that you are after. So let me quickly get rid of just some dirt around here, and then, oh, that is an old mine. Okay, I didn't realize that I'd done that. Get out of my face, that flipping block. My goodness. All right, let's try this again. Let's do something like that. Fill all that stuff in. Let's quickly grab some water so we can create this infinite water source. Unfortunately, you can't pump directly into the petal apothecary here. Like if I was to just put a fluid conduit down or maybe a transfer node for fluids and try to pump the water directly into the petal apothecary, it wouldn't work, which is a little bit annoying. It makes it kind of hard to automate, but it is possible to automate it, just not so simply. But for now, if we right click with water, that's going to fill it up. And the first flower that we are going to make is the pure daisy, this one over here, and this flower is used to make a living rock and living wood, and it's made with 4 mystical white petals. So if we come on through to our flower pouch, grab 2 mystical white flowers, we can craft that into 4 mystical petals. Like I said, we are going to also need a seed to complete the crafting recipe, so let's come back to our crafting terminal, grab some normal wheat seeds, and now I believe you can use any seed, by the way. You don't have to use normal wheat seeds. I'm using these because we have them in abundance. But now if we throw in all of our mystical white petals, all you gotta do, just drop them in with Q, like so, and then if you finish it off with a normal wheat seed, you'll see right there, if I look at the petal apothecary, it says that now if I add a seed, it will create the pure daisy, and so if we throw this in, boom, we get ourselves the pure daisy. Nice. So for now, I think I will put this down over here just because we've got a bit of space. I'm really not liking this like really dark grass that we've got, but essentially, if you put a block around this, if you put either stone or wood around the pure daisy, it will transform that stone or wood into living rock or living wood, respectively. So what we want to do is come back over here. For now, let's grab some oak. We'll make some living wood first. We are going to make a second pure daisy here because I want to have one that is used to make living rock and one that is used to make living wood. But essentially, if we put living wood around this, and by the way, it only works in the 1 block radius. Like if I put wood here, that wood's not going to be affected. But you'll see there are little like magical particle effects going on around it, and after about 60 seconds, it takes about a minute, all of this wood will be transformed into living wood. Whilst we wait for that to happen, I'm going to go back into here, grab some more of these white flowers, craft those up, again, real quick, into another pure daisy so that we can have one for making the living rock. Let's do this, throw this down over here. You can mix and match as well, by the way. You don't have to have only wood around it. I could have put like a piece of stone right here, and that one piece of stone would have become living rock, and the rest would have become living wood. You can also do it in parts. You don't have to put 8 down at a time. I could have just put 1 wood down, and that would have turned into living wood as well. So, any second now, this should be transforming into some living wood. Like so. Nice! And then we can harvest this, and now we can use this to craft up a bunch of other stuff within Botania. And the exact same thing holds true for the stone as well. If you put down some stone around this pure daisy, and by the way, that is stone, not cobblestone, it has to be smelted. If we put down some stone around the other pure daisy, that is going to get us a bunch of living rock. And so, what I'm going to do now, guys, I'm going to go away real quick. I'm going to get a bunch more of the living rock and the living wood, and I'll be back in a second. And a little while later, we now have 32 living rock and 32 living wood, and so now we can get into the bulk of Botania. So, the bulk of Botania revolves around generating mana and then using that mana to do other cool stuff. And so, we need to start by generating some mana and then storing that mana in a place where it's then usable by other items and other flowers. And so, we need to create ourselves a mana pool. This is a really simple item which is going to be able to store all of our mana, and it's made really easily just with 5 living rock like so. Again, for now, we'll just stick this down outside somewhere. We'll put it down, I guess, right about over here. I really need to set up like an actual area dedicated to all this Botania stuff. We don't quite have enough space over here, mainly because we have this big fence cage. I didn't mention this last episode. Somebody on the server brought me a Pegasus, which they have named Janky Nick, and thus it is being stored here in this cage so that it doesn't fly away, because as you can see, they do have very large wings that they can use to fly away if left to their own devices, so that's why we don't have much space over here. But now that we have our mana pool, we need to start generating some mana and transferring that mana into the mana pool. Now, if we look inside of our Lexicon Botania and we go to the generating flora section, this one right here in the middle, there are a bunch to start with one of 2 flowers. We can either use the nightshades or the day blooms. The reason why we need to start with those is that a lot of the other flowers, for example, if we look at the Endoflame, which is one that we're probably going to make very soon, the Endoflame is a flower that uses fuel, so for example coal, wood, etc., to generate mana. But to make it, we need to get some of this mana powder, and if we shift right click to see the recipe, mana powder is made by throwing things like glowstone, redstone, gunpowder, etc. into the mana pool with some mana already in it. And so we have to start by making flowers that don't require any mana to make. And those flowers are the Daybloom and the Nightshade. Now, the Daybloom and the Nightshade both work in almost identical ways. The Daybloom will produce mana during the day, the Nightshade will produce mana at night. I always make the Dayblooms, and so instead, this time around, I'm going to make the Nightshades. These guys over here, these are very simply made, again, in the Petal Apothecary, but this time with 2 black petals, 1 grey petal, and 1 purple petal. So, if we come over here, let's grab the black, the grey. You do want to watch out, there is light grey and dark grey. I'm pretty sure this one just requires the dark grey. Yes, a normal grey. Just watch out because there is light grey as well. And then let's also grab the purple. Let's go ahead and craft like half of those up, I guess, into petals. We don't want to do too many. We do need twice as many black as everything else. So let's go ahead and get, I guess, 16 black. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Actually, you know what? Let's just craft them all up. We'll get 18 black, and then we'll go with... We'll do this. We've got enough here. Let's go ahead and let's put the bucket of water into here, and let's put in our 1 purple, 1 grey, and 2 black. As you can see, it's come up with the Nightshade. Let's just quickly grab our seed, drop that in like so. That's going to get us our first Nightshade flower. Now, a really cool thing about the Petal Apothecary is if you're making multiple of the same flower, what you can do is you can put water back in, and you can see right now it says right-click with an empty hand to add back the last recipe. So if I right-click again, it's going to put that same recipe we just had from my inventory into the Petal Apothecary, and so now all I need to do is drop in another seed, and boom, we get another Nightshade. And we can just repeat this process over and over and over again to get ourselves a bunch of these Nightshades. And once we've made a couple of them, we can now start to use these to generate some mana. So, just my luck, it is now the middle of the day, and so it's going to be quite a while before these can be useful. But essentially, if I put these down over here, like so, they're going to start to generate mana during the night, and then what we need to do is figure out a way to transfer that mana from the Nightshades into the mana pool. Now, you can't put these next to each other. I believe if you put them directly next to each other like that, they're not going to work, or they're going to be a lot less efficient than they are normally. So make sure you have them kind of zigzagged around or not directly touching each other. But what we can do, and where the heck did that creeper come from? Let me just get rid of this guy. But now we've got these, we need a way to transfer the mana that's generated from these Nightshades into the mana pool, and we also could kind of do with a way to actually see how much mana they are generating or how much they have. On this Nightshade, you can see that it has no mana inside of it, and it also has a little X on what looks like a piece of living wood at the end there, but that is actually a mana spreader, and that is basically saying that it is not connected to any nearby mana spreaders, and we need to get mana spreaders because these are used to transfer mana from generating flora like the Nightshades over here into mana storage like the mana pool over here. Thankfully, to make this, it's actually really easy. It's just 6 living wood, 1 golden ingot, and then again 1 of any color mystical petal. So if we come back over, we should just be able to shift click this in fairly easily like so. We'll put in a black petal for now like that. That gets us the mana spreader, and now we can put this down really anywhere within the vicinity of all of these Nightshades. For now, I'll put it down like right about there. And you can see they are still not linked. If you put them down after you put down the mana spreader, so I put this down again right here, it will automatically link to this. But if you put them down before you put the mana spreader down, they won't automatically link. But what you can do is you can shift right click into the air with your wand of the forest, and you can see at the bottom there, it's switching between function mode and bind mode. If it's on bind mode, you can right click, or you can shift right click on a flower, and then shift right click on a mana spreader, and that will link it to said mana spreader like so. So you want to make sure that all of your mana generating flowers are connected to your mana spreader, and then you want to make sure, did that connect? It didn't. And then you want to make sure that you bind the mana spreader to the mana pool like that, and I'll direct it down towards the mana pool. You can see right now we're getting these like green dots that are going from the mana spreader to the mana pool. That's just visualizing the path that the mana is going to take. Let's quickly switch back to function mode, and you can right click to see how much mana is in the mana spreader or the mana pool or anything really at any given time. As you can see right now, no mana is being generated because it is the middle of the day. And so what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to go away. I'm going to wait till it's night so we can actually start to generate some mana, and I'll be back in a second. And a couple of Minecraft hours later, as you can see, we are now getting some mana into our mana pool. That is because these nightshades are now generating some mana, sending that mana through to the mana spreader. You can see this green bar is going up a little bit, and then every so often you'll see a big mana burst go straight through from the mana spreader to the mana pool, transferring that mana into its usable form. And you'll see that there is not a lot. Like, it's really not producing that much. The mana spreader isn't getting full on mana before it sends its burst out. And you can see that the mana pool here has a very, very small amount of mana. You can hardly see it on this bar there on the far left. And so we really need to start looking towards a better source of mana generation pretty quickly. If we go into the Lexicon Botania here, there is also a whole section on the caveats of passive generation. Essentially, because these nightshades generate their mana passively, they will decay after 3 days. So after 3 days of being alive, they will just turn into dead bushes and will stop working entirely. Where the heck did you come from? But they'll stop working entirely, and the same is true for day blooms and hydrangeas. So anything that generates mana without any kind of fuel will stop working after 3 days. It'll just turn into a dead bush and will die. And so we need to start working fairly quickly towards moving on to some non-passively generating flowers. For example, the Endo Flame that we mentioned earlier in today's episode. This is a flower that runs on fuel, and to make this, we need 2 brown petals, 1 red petal, 1 light grey petal, and then 1 mana powder, which can be made by throwing things like gunpowder, redstone, glowstone, sugar, floral white powder, any of the floral powders, or anything like that into the mana pool. I'm going to use redstone because we have a ton of redstone, even more so than we have floral powder. So let's just try and squeeze through this door. Let's make a few of these.